So we offer a closed environment, a secure, safe, and certified environment that you're going to learn and test. We're going to find anomalies and changes. Things change with devices, with peering partners, codecs, many things. We look at this digital twin with this new release. We run these call flows, and ahead of time, we'll already know if it passes or not.
Hi everybody, welcome to this product briefing. We're going to do a deep dive on Ribbon Leap. Really excited to understand more about this solution. And I've today got Greg and Cobi. Greg, do you just want to introduce yourself, please?
Sure, Greg Zweig. I'm responsible for solutions marketing or product marketing here at Ribbon.
Awesome. And Cobi?
Hi, I'm Cobi Gurievsky, and I'm responsible part of the product and PLM team for automation, machine learning, and AI.
Awesome. All the exciting things. We're gonna dig into that. Greg, I think everybody in our space knows Ribbon, but to set the scene, can you give us kind of the Ribbon story and a bit about the portfolio?
Sure. Well, Ribbon Communications, we've got a long history in the space. Most people know us for our session border controllers. That's probably your audience knows that. A long history of providing Microsoft Teams integration. And we do that for enterprises and small, medium business. And we have a significant position with the large service providers globally. So, we understand how to deliver really large, sophisticated networks. And we take all that technology and try and bring it down to enterprises of all sizes.
Yeah, you've got some very impressive, massive carrier grade stuff, and then a lot of the large complex enterprise as well. And I've been using the SBCs for too long to talk about. But
you'll age yourself, Tom.
Yeah. So Cobi, Leap. Let's start off easy. What is Leap? What does Leap stand for?
Sure. Leap stands for our Learning Enabled Automation Program. This is a software platform that if we take a step forward, what it does is it automates our test automation. Test automation in this space is mostly about call flows. So kind of Leap what does simply is it's going to take all these call flows and it's going to learn them. And then when we want to upgrade, when we stay up to date for many, many reasons, we create a little digital twin on your lab. We're going to take your production network, we're going to learn it, and we'll automate and streamline the upgrade process, first by the test automation aspect, running machine learning and AI models. And we kind of generate out of that interesting test suites that you can go ahead and then verify your new release and streamline and stay up to date. That's kind of what Leap does.
Awesome. So test automation, that's come out of kind of, carrier stuff, software space where you have a set of tests you do. I would say historically, the challenge has been you set your tests up, you run your tests, you pass your tests, you go to production. And one of the things that you didn't test, because it's production, right? There's 1,000 variables going on. So you passed your tests, but you didn't. But you mentioned something there about learning how the environment's actually working. So dig into that for me. How does it come up with the test cases?
Okay. So let me share a slide for just a few seconds.
Please.
And what we can do is we can kind of discuss exactly how that works in a very easy and comfortable way of understanding.
While you share, is this test automation immediately says carrier to me, but is this carrier more carrier, enterprise, a bit of both? Where's it?
So I would say the enterprises and the medium and large enterprises can now leverage kind of like they say army grade or carrier grade. The best of the technologies from all our years of experience are now available for of course the mega and large tiers 1 to service providers, but now the major enterprises such as the financial, insurance, different industries in the enterprise can basically leverage this technology. And everybody's talking about automation and of course machine learning and AI, but how does that, imply, or how is that enabled in my network? And you asked about the call flow. So how does that work? Well, it basically ingests from the production that we can't touch, but we can sample from over there to your lab, and we set up a digital twin basically for you, because you want to test this on your production. If we test it for you, we don't know what your call flows are. They're actually proprietary, they're privacy issues, compliance, regulation. So we offer a closed environment, a secure, safe, and certified environment that you're going to learn and test. We're going to find anomalies and changes. Things change with devices, with peering partners, codecs, many things. We look at this digital twin with this new release. We run these call flows, and ahead of time, we'll already know if it passes or not, because it's actually simulating a little production environment on this new upgraded release. And when you asked about what does it generate out, it's going to give you these automatic test suites to run again and again automatically, with really easy dashboards and auditing functions that you can go ahead and tweak and adjust till you're comfortable. And the savings in time are huge over there.
So I'm bringing Leap into my environment. It's learning how my environment, my call flows. Like, I'm particularly busy on a Wednesday night, and in this scenario, this route's this way, this route's that way. So it's not a theoretical set of tests, it's actually mirroring what I'm doing. And then it's taking that over to a lab environment where I can have virtual physical versions of the SBCs, and I can say, okay, I'm going to go to 6.2 now. Let's literally run a day, a week's worth of different scenarios and see if it trips up, because I have this scenario where I do a forward to a forward to a forward, and turns out that firmware version trips up on that triple forward, or the things that you can never really catch in your typical bog standard test cases.
Let me add to that what we see in the industry is that you can never test everything. You can't find everything. And sometimes we can't test because it's dependent on other projects, peering partners, sites, devices. They do changes and updates. So now you need automation. So we're kind of offering, I like to use the term, a very advanced method using automation and machine learning to streamline a pipeline that you're going to have and connect it to your pipeline to really make this much more productive. And what it's going to do is it's going to, first of all, increase accuracy. And from the productivity side, it's going to save a lot of time and resources. So sometimes people can then free up their time for other critical projects that they have, and kind of enable the machine learning and Leap basically to kind of support that.
Yeah, do some of that heavy lifting.
And at the end of the day, nobody wants to stay kind of behind on their releases. That has so many dangerous security.
I mean, you just can't anymore, can you? Because whatever standards internationally you adhere to in terms of security best practice, one of the early things they ask you for is your patching process, your life cycle, your audit logs for patching. So we're way beyond those days of the SBC's been solid, I'm going to let it be for as long as possible. Like, that's just not viable.
Until you get hacked and downtime and outages.
Oh yeah, then you get
code.
Yeah, exactly.
They call it, okay, well, can we try Leap now? So we want to prevent that.
So Greg, where's the sweet spot for this? Cobi mentioned enterprise there. I'm guessing more complex, risk-averse enterprise type scenarios.
Yeah, I think he brought up some good examples. This is probably something that a larger organization is going to be interested in. It may not necessarily be the size of the company per se in users, but complex environments where they have lots of sites. Maybe they have different integration points, like they have multiple contact centers, maybe Teams, maybe they're using a combination of Teams, Zoom, WebEx, whatever the case may be, legacy of Avaya or Cisco. Those kind of environments where they have complex call flows. Those are the
and I guess the kind of environment where like, you know, you're going to get in trouble. It matters if telephony is an issue, right? So like, I can't
Yeah.
just say to the business, oh, I patched it to 6.2 and something happened. Like some environments you can get away with that, but like not in these type of environments.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind is we've talked a little bit about upgrades, but there's also, Cobi mentioned digital twinning. Somebody who's been in this space a long time, you as well, Tom, you know, sometimes it's as simple as, hey, I'm going to bring up a new site, or I'm moving and I'm going to change my configurations because I have to move. Normally what happens is that happens at Saturday or Sunday night at 2 a.m. And, you know, I always say hope becomes your strategy, right? You hope that everything you've done is going to work, and then you're going to bring it up and everything is going to work, or that the number of issues are going to be minor enough that you can deal with it. And so that digital twin that Cobi mentioned, you know, practically speaking, you can try out that kind of change and see what's going to happen, and have a much higher confidence level that you'll be able to go to bed when you're done. And, you know, for people in this business, that's a really important consideration. And frankly, it can be career impacting if you do it wrong.
Well, yeah. So you go back to the project and say, this is how we've de-risked it. Like, this is what we've actually done. Here are the results.
So it's not always just a software release to software release. It can be a lot more, different use cases that it really impacts.
Awesome. Cobi, you touched on the data, right? So this is super important. The type of customers it's going into, they're not going to want to give you cool data, right? So how's it work from a deployment point of view? Is it physical? Is it virtual? Is it dedicated? Is it SaaS? What's that look like?
Sure. So to answer the first question, these partners, these are our design partners. Leap is relatively new. So they've given us very strict rules. And these are public companies. These are grade 1, tier 1, and also public enterprises of the most famous you can imagine in the finance.
You can share names with us, Cobi. We're all friends here.
No, you can't. The marketing guy says no, you can't.
I had to try, Greg.
Top tier 1 US, European telecom, banking, finance. And what they have gone with us as design partner, make sure that there's a market fit. So I think the next customer comes with a lot of trust. Now, the guidelines that they gave us is, first of all, we would like this deployed on our end, meaning this is on our data center, physical data center, or on our site. And they insist usually at having virtual machines or KVM machines. Mm-hmm. And Leap doesn't have big footprint. It's usually 1 or 3 machines, servers, and then it's software, of course. It's a standalone application that they control. They decide on the security procedures, how it's locked in and connected with the firewall. We don't get involved in that at all.
Nice, because I feel like it would be a pretty much endless compliance conversation to go to a bank and say, we're going to take a copy of all your call flows and do a test in the cloud. Like, it's just, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah, if they want to run it on a private instance on their cloud, on their environment, we will support it, but it's theirs, okay? And we don't connect, nor do we connect to anything else. A lot of providers are talking AI or Gen AI, so that means there's a connection to some other provider. No. This is all proprietary and closed environment for the carriers that was developed by Ribbon, supported by Ribbon, to really streamline and offer that. And it's also very affordable. It's easy to kind of, deploy, test out.
And Cobi, if I'm a existing Ribbon customer, what does this look like in terms of deployment? Can I proof of concept it? Is it days, weeks, months? What does it look like?
Yeah, it's an easy deployment on your site, and anyone can run a proof of concept, a trial on their end. And it usually takes us about half a day to deploy, and next day it's up and running.
Awesome. And from a kind of pricing point of view, like, this sounds like, there's a lot of your carrier intelligence is coming to this. How does the pricing scale? How's that work? Is it sessions? Is it SBCs?
No, pricing, we made it really affordable just based on the amount of SBCs and the network specifications.
Awesome. So I could be a small seat count customer relatively. I might be a couple of thousand seats, but I'm complex. I'm multi-site. I've got some call manager. I've got some Avaya. This is what I see a lot of in enterprise is complexity doesn't necessarily scale linearly with seat count. Sometimes you can be relatively in those, sub 5,000, but you can still have a lot of complexity in your network.
True.
Awesome. And like from a kind of testing point of view, do I need a compelling event to see the value? Like, do I have to deploy a lab and then have a firmware update or a site change? Or could I understand what I get from the testing without a compelling event, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. So there are two scenarios there. One, you've had many challenges in the past, and the overall upgrade cycles were long. You remember that cycle once every year or two. It took 12 to 18 months. So that's a compelling event in itself because we shrink that into weeks or months. That's one thing. The other thing is that you have to stay up to date, and especially with Ribbon, and especially with regulation and compliance from your end. Your chief information officer, your IT, they're demanding for you to stay up to date. So that's kind of another compelling event. And then what we do is we just come in, we do some design meetings, we install it within a few hours, and next day you're running it. It takes an hour or two to learn because of all the automation there. It's pretty easy. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So Greg, if people want to find out more, what's the process here to kind of maybe have a pre-sales conversation, maybe test it out?
Sure. I mean, obviously they can go up to the Ribbon website, rbbn.com, and look up, just do a quick search on Leap and it'll pop right up. You can learn a little on the page. If you know your Ribbon account manager, certainly you can reach out to them. They'd be happy to talk to you. You can also probably connect with Cobi and myself. Easy to find us on LinkedIn. Good. We both have unusual names, so easy to find on LinkedIn, and we gladly connect you to the right folks.
I always like it when I have guests on the product briefings who are prepared to field the awkward questions directly. So thanks for volunteering.
No problem.
Thanks for volunteering Cobi on his behalf as well.
Hey, he's got to earn a living.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah,
well, thanks so much.
We invite your audience. Just after that, we invite your audience to trial it out. If they're Ribbon customers, if they're not, and there's definitely a model, something like a try and buy, and we'll be their trusted advisor working with them on automation on that end for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys, for explaining that. Really appreciate it. Yeah, if people want to find out more, we'll put some links below as well. But yeah, feel free to either ask questions in the chat or ping Cobi or Greg or your relevant Ribbon rep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.